Okay. Hello, everybody. This is RBR Short Films 13, aka Ryan, and I am doing a live stream for the new year. Happy New Year, guys. It's going to be New Year's in 2 hours. So I'm doing a solid 2 hour live stream. Uh, this is my last live stream in 2021, and it's my first live stream for 2022. So tune in, guys. Enjoy your new year. And if you guys are watching me, great. Hope you're having a great new year. Hope you're celebrating. Hope you're having a good time with your family or friends, or even by yourself. If you're just, if you're having a good time, great. And yeah, feel free to join in the chat, and we'll talk about 2022 or movies in 2022 or shows in 2022. Um, you know, games, whatever. We'll talk about any of that. So, yeah, I can't believe it's in 2 hours. It's gonna be next year. It's crazy. When a year can go so fast, and it felt like 2020 went a lot longer for some reason. It didn't go as fast. This year went a lot faster. I don't know why, but it went faster than 2020. And yeah, that went quick. It went really quick. A year can go by in a second sometimes. So it varies for me. Sometimes life gets faster, it gets slower. Just depends on, I think, what's going on. And yeah, but yeah. So just gonna keep waiting until people join the live chat, and then we all can talk about the new year and stuff. Hello, Mario Mania 1, 2, 3, 4. How you doing? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I hear a lot of firework. I hear a lot of fireworks outside my house right now. A lot of people are celebrating New Year. I sadly have family and friends that have the new variant right now. So they're sick, and I was originally going to be going over to a family member's place this weekend for New Year's, but those family members got sick, so um, here I am live streaming on New Year's. What I didn't think I was going to be doing on the 31st, I am doing on the 31st. So I figured, out of all years to live stream for New Year's for my YouTube channel, it would be this year, since everyone's sick, and uh, there's not really anywhere to really celebrate this year. So um, yeah, so I'm just kind of doing a New Year's live stream for everybody, and I hope people enjoy. But this is for all of us just to talk and talk about whatever, and you know, because I've already made live streams where I've talked on and on about my movies and yada 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 yada. So it'd just be cool just to talk about stuff this because this is a new year, you know, um, live stream, so it doesn't have to be about this and about that. It can just be about people and things to look forward to. Thank you, Mario Mania. Yeah, it's sad. I wouldn't. It's like I wouldn't wish this on anyone. This virus. So this family member um, has had it twice um, in the same year. So it's sad. Yeah. So I've had quite a few family members that have had had the virus, and then now I have friends. I've had many friends that have gotten it, um, and it reminds me we're still living in this. We're not out of it. We're not in a back to a place of normal. None of that. I feel like we're still far from that. Um, and it'd be really shocking if we're not, because you know it doesn't look good. So trying to be optimistic about the new year. Um, it's just it's very difficult when there's a whole setup that the next year will not be a good year. This all feels like a setup for a big failure of a year. But let's hope that it's not. Let's hope that it's a good year, and good things happen, and you know um the stuff is more uh not as out of control, more in control, and we all can really live our lives a lot more than we were able to this year. So that's all I hope, you know. So how's your new year going, Mario Mania? Are you having a good new year? Cross your fingers for a better year. Yes, very much. Yep. I'm crossing my fingers all the time. Feel like I'm doing that more and more every year I live. It's only because of this pandemic, though. And I'm always let down. You know what I mean? I'm always let down. I'm like, all right, fingers crossed. I'm always hoping for the best, and then the worst happens. You know. So it's like I want to continue to be optimistic. You know, but you don't know what year is going to entail. So I'm not a I'm not a psychic, but I don't- I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be a good year. It doesn't look good. It's pretty quiet around here. I'm the only one awake in the house. LOL. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are celebrating differently this year. Um, I mean, anything can change. Anything, I might be very surprised next year with how the world goes, and everything. But um, I don't know. I just get these vibes, these strong vibes that it's gonna be even worse year than this, and I hope not. But it just feels like the worst is yet to come, not the best. And at least, I mean, at least for right now, it feels that way. Maybe it won't in the next 2 months, but right now, it feels like we're just in for a terrible, terrible time in our world. Hey, Aaron, Happy New Year. Thank you guys for joining my live stream, my New Year's live stream. I really appreciate it. So it's not like I'm just doing this live stream by myself and there's no one, that's watching. So thank you guys. Be sure to comment a lot in the live chat. Just write. Dr. Lewis. Right. just just write. Continue to have a conversation. You think you were blocked on your other account? I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I didn't think I was really gonna be doing a New Year's live stream, uh, tonight. I didn't expect, um, a couple family members would, get the new variant. I'm very surprised, but at the same time, I'm not, though. But it's, like, not their fault, though. No, you didn't do something wrong. Aaron, why do you always think that I have a problem with you? I don't. And you have, like, 3 different YouTube accounts. Just stop. The months between Christmas and spring always are kind of depressing for me. Am I the only one? Um, No, no, you're not the only one. I had seasonal depression a lot growing up, uh, and, um, yeah, so, like, January, February were really tough months, and then March, it would kind of, you know, you have a little bit of light out of the tunnel, and then April would start to feel like the year is finally progressing, it's going somewhere. So, I I've been there when it comes to that. I mean, there's some Januaries and Februaries that I have enjoyed, um, but, yeah, it's a tough time, January, February, March, uh, because it's after Christmas and it's before, um, you Easter. So, um, yeah, I mean, when you get to Easter, then that's when things are a little bit better, and um, things are seem to. I mean, there's more optimism. I think that cold weather can really do a lot. Um, it can have a psychological impact on you if you don't enjoy wintertime and enjoy that cold weather. Some people do, but the ones that don't, it can be very psychological. And it can make you more depressed if you already have depression. I'm excited for Scream 5. Yes, I am excited. I'm excited for Scream 5 too. It's probably my most anticipated anything next year. I mean, I'm excited for The Flash and plenty of other films next year. But Scream 5 probably is number one, even though that's the first movie to really come out next year of all the big blockbusters. It's my most anticipated. Uh, no, Halloween Ends. Sorry, I forget that there's Halloween Ends next year. So Halloween Ends. Yeah, yeah, because it's Michael Myers. It's Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. Um, but I don't know. I loved Halloween Kills. I loved Halloween 2018. I'm really happy with those movies. So I feel like I've gotten my Halloween fix, and I feel like the fans we've gotten the franchise back, So there's not as much anticipation because the franchise is around again. Um, so, you know, the fact that we're getting a Scream film, we don't always get Scream movies. The last Scream movie was 10 years ago. We did have a show that was on from 2015 to 2019, but, it wasn't a movie, a movie that you see on the big screen and the Hollywood production value and everything. So, excuse me. Um, excuse me. Um, we're I think we're going to be getting the best Scream movie since the first two movies. Um, I mean, surprisingly, there are some people that really don't like the second film, or they'll put the fourth and third over the second movie, which that's their opinion. But to me, Scream 2 is always in line with the first movie. I will watch the first one and the second one back to back, and it's like this one long film. Uh, I think because Scream 2 only came out a year after the first one is because it feels so connected. They both were made at very similar times, and that's when the actors were really into those roles, their characters. You can tell that they didn't care as much. The actors didn't care as much when you get to Scream 3 and 4. You can tell that the effort is not as strong. I thought Nev Campbell was still better, in Scream 3 than Scream 4. Not even though I prefer Scream 4, I think her acting was better in Scream 3. Um, but everyone's acting was the best in those first 2 films, and, yeah, the first 2 were always on that same level, and then you get to the 3rd and 4th one, and it's not the same level as those first 2. But I feel like this 5th movie is gonna be the closest to it. I definitely think it's still gonna be different because it's different directors, it's different writers, but, I think it's gonna have the most similar. And I think because they're taking it seriously, the tone, they're not they're not trying to make it over the top, too goofy, too comedic. You can tell they're wanting this to be a good film and a film that is taken seriously, so there might be humor in this movie, but, um it's good that it's gonna be a little darker than than the last two movies. You can just tell just by the trailer, just by the opening sequence. This movie is taking itself seriously, and that's exciting. Going into a Scream film that it's not going to be so goofy and meta, and it's going to be a little more serious. I think that that's really really cool. I heard there's going to be Scream season 4. Yes, yep, I heard that too. I'm really excited for that. I would love that. The Rock got new movie coming out called Black Adam. I know. I've heard about that movie for a long time. I am interested in to see how it turns out. I've seen some concept arts, and think I've seen a photo of The Rock as Black Adam, and he looks a lot like actually Black Adam. Like if you look at the animation, the comics, or the video games, he I mean, they did a really good casting job, when it comes to the look of the character. I'm not gonna say it's identical. It's very in line with how Black Adam is supposed to look, and so I good job for Warner Brothers and everyone working on that film. It looks like they know what they're doing with this movie. So and who knows? Black Adam might be the best out of all the DC movies next year. I mean, you know, I was surprised by the Suicide Squad. I didn't think that was gonna be any good when that came out, and I ended up really liking it when I saw the film. I don't love it, but I like it. So, DC has been known to surprise people a lot more than Marvel. Marvel, it's a hit or a miss, and with DC, it's kind of like you don't know what's going to be good, what's going to be bad, you know. Um, Hope we get some good chase scenes. Same. I would love that we have some good chase scenes in Scream 5. We didn't really well, I think the Scream movies have always been good with the chase sequences, though. I think the only one that was lacking with chase scenes was Scream 3. Because Scream 4, you have that chase scene where Sydney and Jill run up the stairs, and Jill goes onto the bed, and then Sydney's on the roof and she's running away from Ghostface on the roof. That was awesome. And then there was that chase in the opening of Scream 4. The one of the girls, she was running away from him, and then went all the way to the garage. So there was some good chase sequences in Scream 4. Um, and there was a lot of running, at the mansion, scenes in Scream 3. But I just don't remember a lot of running in that film too much. I I think there was a lot more running in Scream 4, especially you have that, yeah, you know, I mean, at least my opinion. I mean, maybe they're tied. I don't know, but I think I recall the first two films having the most chase scenes, especially the first one. Sydney's running around everywhere in the first movie. In that third act, she's running, 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 and and you get to the second film, and then you have Cece, running from Ghostface, um, and she runs all the way up to the roof, and then you have a bunch of chasing scenes with Sydney, you know. Then you have that whole scene with Gail and Dewey trying to figure out who Ghostface is, like who's on the phone, who's calling them. They think that the killers are, around them, and so they're running around, I don't know. I mean, the first two had a lot of running, and the third and fourth one definitely uh, didn't have as much. Um, but let's hope that Scream 5 definitely has a lot of chase scenes. I mean, it looks like it, judging by the trailer. The trailer I watched, the first one, um, looks like the movie looks promising. Honestly, it does. It does look promising, and it's not even Wes Craven, which is like that's a big deal. When a Scream film looks like when it looks that promising and it's not Wes Craven, that's huge. I wonder what the story of Scream season 4 is gonna be like. Same. Well, I think they're gonna go back to the timeline of the first two seasons and those characters in the first two seasons, and they're going to basically the season 4 will be like a season 3 to those first two seasons. So kind of like what we should have gotten in the first place, with the show. Um, because those characters, from season 1 and 2, it all felt like it was leading to a final 3rd season, and, you know, I feel like we should still get that final season of those characters because those stories are not wrapped up, at least in season 3 of, Scream. Even though they it was a new timeline, new characters and everything, the story wrapped up. It was a beginning, middle, and end. That season had a beginning, middle, and end. It literally did, and it didn't even set it up for another season, you know? Um, so at least it ended, It's not like the last season had a cliffhanger, but season 2 of Scream has a cliffhanger, and it's that original timeline. So, what would make sense is to go back to that original timeline of the first 2 seasons and, um, you know, uh, expand upon those characters and reveal who's been calling the shots, from the very beginning, and there's been that theories of, Brandon James, is back in Lakewood and all that stuff. So, I mean, we'll see. Um, but I would love to see a continuation of those characters. And that Ghostface, because here's the thing also with TV Ghostface, it's a different Ghostface. It's a different universe. So it's not like it's trying to copycat the movies. And how cool, you go to the theater to see a Scream film, and then at home there's a TV series that is Scream, but it's a little different. It's not trying to copycat what you've just watched, or so much. It's not trying to copycat as much as it could copycat. Man, Ryan, you're getting subscribers. Good job. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. I know, I've noticed I'm getting a lot of subscribers. That's great. I mean, I've been on YouTube since 2009, so I was kind of hoping for 10,000 subscribers by this point, or 20,000. Um, but 20 billion YouTubers joined after 2009. So it's quite a competition when you're up against 20 billion people. And, you know, so it is a big deal that I'm even getting subscribers, views, likes, because there is a big competition on YouTube. And when my channel first came out, there wasn't as many channels as there is now. So I got a lot more responses when my channel first came out. But um, I think I would have a lot more subscribers, um, for two reasons. If um, YouTube didn't do all that audio swapping stuff for with my videos and blocking my videos or removing because of copyright, um, a lot of those videos I had the most views of any of my videos, and those are the videos they removed. Go figure. Um, so automatically, when they do that, your views decrease, um, and and then they had that issue. There was something. I think it was a few years ago where, um, if you had subscribers where their channels were no longer uh, there, then you would lose subscribers automatically. They would get rid of all those channels that were no longer there. So you would automatically lose subscribers, and people lost subscribers when that happened. So a lot's changed throughout the 12 years I've been on here. Um, and it's difficult to keep up. The policies keep changing and guidelines. You have to remove certain content because it doesn't hold up and it doesn't, reach their standards anymore. So it is YouTube is not fun like it once was. It feels more like a mission than um, than your average day life. Your YouTube life. It feels a lot more commercialized and not as appealing to their their users. Um, that's just my opinion. I've had strong opinions about YouTube and Google for a long time. And I used to think YouTube and Google were like the coolest thing ever when years ago. But actions speak louder than words. Hey, Wild Kitties. Hey, Cass. I love you too. Love you too, Cass. Thank you for joining the live stream. Happy New Year. I hope you're having a good New Year. Wish I could be with you this New Year. But yeah, there's always a next New Year. So this year I'm having a live stream for my subscribers on YouTube. Uh, and for 2021, I figured, yes, we're trying to stay safe. That's good. That's really, really good. Um, yeah, so I figured, out of all years, why not this year be the year that I live stream on New Year's, since this isn't really a year that me or family or friends are really spending time, because we're all quarantining right now. So yeah, it's kind of the perfect year to do a live stream for my subscribers. Because I thought wasn't going to be able to live stream until tomorrow night. But things changed, so here I am. I have 4 people tuning in, which is great. Already 2 likes, so thank you guys. And I'm live streaming up until midnight. So when the ball drops, I'll be streaming live when that happens, live streaming when that happens. So I'm not going anywhere until that. Do you have all your Scream fan videos? Wait, do you have all your Scream fan videos that you can do? What do you mean, Aaron? Do you have all your Scream fan videos that you can do? I don't know what you mean. Redo? No, I don't. Um, I only have. I mean, I have a lot, but I don't have everything, and I kind of do need everything to be able to redo everything the way I'd like to. Um, like redo them. Yeah, I have to completely redo the first 4 Scream fan films that I've made due to copyright. Those first 4 movies are like blocked in all countries worldwide. Nobody can watch them. So it's like the longer I wait to, do re-edits of those films, the longer people are going to be confused about those movies and not know why they're blocked. It's like, okay, Ghostface versus Jason, The Miner versus Jason, a Ghostface story. Those aren't blocked, or those don't have any copyright. So why do the other movies have those problems? And they're going to want to know those storylines and what happened in those movies, and people are going to be confused. And thank you, YouTube. So, what movie of yours were you most surprised by the reaction to it? Um, oh, that's a good one. Halloween November 3rd, I'd say would be the one that I was most surprised by, for sure. Um, because Halloween November 3rd went through a lot, that movie. Um, the first 2 movies were made, I mean, the first one, that was my first movie, and that was just a fun movie to make. Then the second one, um, uh, it was a little more difficult. I was going through a lot of depression then. I was dealing with a lot of stuff. My PTSD was really bad when I was making November 2nd. So, uh, but I got it made. It came out in March, only a few months after November 1st. And then I don't know, I didn't really have any plans for a third movie right away. I didn't really see a third one. But about, I'd say, a year after November 2nd, uh, not a full year, but almost a year, I was like, maybe, I don't know, maybe maybe I'll go back to this and make a third movie. I don't know, because I got a lot of requests from subscribers after the second one to make a third one, and I wanted to make. By that point, I was like, all right, I'll make a third movie. So I tried to make a third movie, didn't work out. Um, it was kind of I don't know, the worst experience I've ever gone through making any movies. Um, that was probably like the worst day of filming of any movie in my lifetime. And so I completely canceled that movie and said, you know what, never mind. I'm just done with November 3rd. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen because I would keep announcing that it would be made and then it wouldn't be made. And that happened twice in a row. So I was like, you know what, I'm done. So anytime anybody would ask, hey, are you going to make November 3rd? Are you going to make Halloween November 3rd? I would keep debunking it and keep saying, no, 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 no. I'm not making a third movie. But there came a point where in my mind, I'm like, you know what? And this was in the year 2015. I was making Ghostface versus Jason, and when Ghostface versus Jason came out, I was like, you know what? I'm still making the Miner versus Jason, a Ghostface story, but maybe I'll make November 3rd. Maybe I'll just say screw it and actually make it and film it and get it out. And I decided to dealt with drama with that movie as well. I dealt with stuff 3 times in a row with that movie, so it was not a fun movie, to experience. So the fact that I even got it completed filming after, let's see, how many years since I originally announced it? 2011, so 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. So about 5 years, um, there was that, "It's gonna happen, it's not gonna happen," kinda thing. And finally it was made and I'm like, "Okay, I filmed it. Let's see where this goes." I had a better mask that time around, Michael Myers mask, and I learned a lot as a filmmaker by that point. So I knew how to make movies better than I did, years before. So basically, um, I filmed that movie for about uh originally it was kind of filmed for a couple days, and then there was kind of add-in scenes. I mean, the filming was scattered, so it was filmed pretty much all throughout September, and then October. I edited the movie all throughout October, and then I went back for some pickup shots, like some fall shots, because I lived in the Midwest and I wanted to get some really good fall shots because I filmed the movie a little bit. I filmed it like right before fall started, so it still had a little bit of a summer look. So I had to get some shots that were fall. Um, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to release it on October 31st on Halloween, and Halloween November 3rd came out on Halloween, and the likes and comments were undescribable. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. All those years of like the battle and challenges of that movie and getting it made and the whole process and everything, it actually happened, and I couldn't believe the movie actually got made, and the comments and likes and the responses I got were I would have never have expected that. um and in fact, um YouTube sent me an email letting me know that my most watched video this year of any of my videos in general, anything that's most watched, that got the best responses, anything, was Halloween November 3rd, which was a movie I made in 2016. So here we are 5 years later, and it's still a hit. It's still my most viewed movie. It's still my most viewed anything. It's got like almost 60,000 views. Halloween November 3rd, and none of my movies have almost 60,000 views. I mean, Ghostface versus Jason is almost to, I think, 40K views. It's in that 30,000 something views right now. Um, and The Miner versus Jason: A Ghostface Story uh, has um, has thousands of views. It just doesn't have like 30,000 yet. Um, But just yeah, none of my movies have reached that level of like almost 60,000 views. So quite an accomplishment. Nice story. Glad it finally got Nice story. Glad it finally got made. Thank you. Thank you. Me too. Um, it's pretty amazing um, that it did get completed, and the fact that that's the film that gets the most responses out of all of them. I don't know. Maybe it was like I don't know. I feel like YouTube was rewarding me for all the pain I had to go through with that film for so long. So, uh, yeah, it was interesting because it was a movie that I kept putting off and moved on and did other projects, and it was a film that I went back to later on. So it was, yeah, it was quite interesting uh, movie to make, but it was fun to get back into the Halloween groove, to, like, direct Michael Myers, that blue lighting, the blue and, like, orange colors and, like, having to make sure, a movie looks like a Halloween film, to sound like a Halloween film, to feel like a Halloween film, to have suspense, to have horror, to have all those things that a Halloween film is supposed to have in a 16-minute movie, Uh, but I only agreed to do November 3rd if the mask was gonna be the original mask from Halloween 1 and 2, and not the party mask that I used in the first 2 films. But I wasn't gonna do a Halloween 5 thing where, like, the mask just changes, you know, because that doesn't make any sense. So I did a shot where Michael Myers finds a new mask while he's walking. So he takes off the party mask that I didn't like and nobody liked, and then puts on the mask that everybody likes and I like, which is the classic original 1978, 1981 mask. And it was awesome. It was awesome to like make a Halloween film where Michael Myers looked like Michael Myers for the first time. It didn't look like fan made party mask Michael Myers. It looked like an actual legit mask and had a legit vibe. So I think that also gained a lot of views was the mask. I think the mask. That's why I always say the mask is everything to Halloween. Because if the mask isn't right, then the movie isn't right. Like you have to get the mask right. And if you don't get the mask right, the movie doesn't work. Honestly, it doesn't. Um, why do you think there's so many people that don't like Halloween H2O? Because of the mask. H2O was a great movie, but the mask is horrible. So there's people that will refuse to watch H2O or whatever because it's got a bad mask. People won't watch Halloween 5 because it's got a bad mask, or Halloween 4, it's got a bad mask. Um, there's certain entries that have a really bad mask, and it definitely has an impact on your film. Because it's a Halloween movie, and you want the mask to look at least solid, decent. Um, and when it looks like a party mask, it's or like a turtle, it's kind of like what mask is this? So, um, 4 and 5, what Halloween 4 and 5 got right was the black under the eyes, like the shadow of Michael. Because in H2O you can see his eyes. It's not only the mask is bad, but then you can see his eyes so well. So really the worst mask of any of them is H2O. I'd say H2O is the worst of any of the masks in the series. So the mask is very important to your Halloween film, and uh, people take that seriously. Fans take that seriously. The mask. Nice story. Oh, let's see. The party mask has its charms. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I'm very surprised to this day that November 3rd got the responses that it did. But I'm really, really grateful and glad that it did though. Um, so the movie doesn't feel like it was made for nothing or was a waste of time. In fact, it boosted my channel up. It got my channel uh bigger. So and it was interesting because I made that in between I made that right after, not right after, but I made it after excuse me, Ghostface versus Jason, and before the Minor versus Jason Ghostface story. So it was in between those two, and yet November 3rd got more views than both of those films. But I feel like if you put Ghostface story and Ghostface versus Jason together, if you put those views together in one, that's pretty much 50 something views, I think, or close to 50,000 views. Someone once said that Michael looked like a mime in H2O, and I thought that was too accurate. LOL. It's a bad mask, you know. It was crazy Mario Mania. There was like 4 people in here and then they all like left. 3 people left at the same time. People keep joining and leaving my live stream, and it's like make up your mind. Um so we are almost an hour in to the last hour in terms of the East Coast uh of 2021. Because when we get to midnight, it'll still be 2021 in the Midwest and certain places. But which is funny because I grew up in Wisconsin, so um, it's always the time zone would we would always be an hour behind. So anytime New Year's would be celebrated, it wouldn't be as big of a deal as the one that would be celebrated an hour later because to me, it wasn't New Year until midnight. So even if it was New Year on the East Coast at 11 o'clock, it didn't mean it was New Year's where I lived. So interesting. Um, so technically, in a way, at midnight, or until 1 o'clock, it's still 2021 somewhere else in the world. So yeah, it is interesting that I lived so long of my life of it's an hour behind, New Year's, and then now I live somewhere where it's an hour ahead, you know? Can you guys believe it's gonna be 2022? In less than 2 hours, it'll be 2022. Time zones are really weird when you really look into them, LOL. Yeah, they are weird. I wish it was one time zone everywhere. It'd be a lot easier to know the time. If there's a time where I'm not talking for a certain amount of time in the live stream, if I take like a minute, 2-minute pause, that means I'm waiting for one of you guys to respond in the chat. We're closer to 2050 than 1990. Yeah, you're right, which is wowing because wow, 1990 was that long ago because I was born in 95. and the '90s still feel like they were yesterday, even though I really only remember '99. I remember '99 a lot. That was the last year of the '90s, but I do remember a lot of it. But um, yeah, you go back to the '90s. I remember Titanic, Titanic on VHS. Or so I remember Titanic on VHS, and so that had to have been '98, '99, and plenty of other things about the '90s that was a lot of fun. There was no tablets. I mean, that stuff was, no one ever thought that would ever exist. Was iPad, um, you know, iPhone, Alexa, uh, you know, all that stuff like that. That was all futuristic things that would exist in like 50 years, or 100 years. Um, and plenty of other inventions now that you just wouldn't have ever expected. Nobody ever expected social media. That's kind of the most surprising invention, most shocking invention out of all of them is social media. Um, so I remember a world before all that. I still have a copy of that double VHS Titanic set. Yep, same. I got it. Yep. I remember always having to put in the second tape, and in fact, whenever my mom goes into her storage, I have a tape of me when I was 3 or 4, imitating Titanic, the movie, where, there was a scene in the film where Cal is after Jack and Rose with the gun, he's trying to shoot them while the ship is sinking. That scene was always my favorite scene when I was a kid, and, I would always imitate it, and I knew, like, every single moment, every cue, every, bit of, like, dialogue, like, you know I enjoyed Titanic, I remember. I just remember really enjoying the film. It was sad, but, um, I just always had the mind of, like, "Oh, this is so good. This is so good. This is so great." Um, rather than, "Oh, this is freaking me out." What scared me as a kid was The Mummy, that Brendan Fraser movie. Um, I'll post that, if my mom ever goes into her storage and gets stuff out of there, the tapes that are in there, because I have a lot of classic videos of me on there. Bunch of videos of me, like, dressing up in costumes as a kid and all these characters I would dress up and play, so I would love to show that eventually whenever I can get that out of storage. But, uh yeah, I would imitate the scene, in Titanic with, like, a Star Wars, Phantom Menace fake blaster gun. It's so funny. Um, and there was, like, a bunch of people watching me, and laughing, I remember. Um, and I think it was some sort of Christmas party, New Year's party that was in '98, '99. So, that was that was cool that I got to, like, show that off to people. And people always thought it was funny, like, when I would imitate Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I knew, like, so many lines in that movie, and I would dress up as Indiana Jones and knew, like, every single, like, moment, and people would laugh. They'd just laugh and clap. Um, so, yeah, yeah. Even, like, Michael Jackson, I dressed up as Michael Jackson when I was a kid and, would dance to Thriller and stuff. So, dressed up as, like, all these different kinds of characters. Um, and, let's see what other characters I may have. Um, and then I played, like, the big bad wolf in, theater camp that I was in. I played, the prince, from, Little Mermaid. I was in a play. I played, I was in a play called Guys and Dolls. Um, and, yeah, so I mean, I've dressed up as, like, a lot of different kinds of characters when I was growing up. I dressed up as the mummy, dressed up as, um it's just too many to count. But, yeah, that Mummy movie freaked me out when that came out. when I watched the VHS of it, because I remember when that VHS started, they'd play like all the old, trailers of like the old monster movies of like Frankenstein and stuff. But then the real Mummy movie would start, and that flashback opening horrified me. It gave me nightmares, like because it's like the beginning of the film, these two people are like stabbing this guy with these swords, and I'm like, what's happening here? And the movie was freaky how everything was done. Like it was all these shadow shots, and I mean, it was just the way it was shot. It was very like, oh. Um, and then you get to that scene where okay, then that woman, the girl, she's like possessed or like they try to do that spell on her and it fails. I mean, that stuff was just so horrific, and then they cut the guy's tongue off, they gauze him, and then feed a bunch of oh god, those beetles, those to him, and they eat him alive, and they close the oh god, they close uh the tomb. I mean, whatever they were. Oh god, it freaked me out as a kid. They lock it, they bury him alive, it's just such a scary thing to watch. Um, that was one that really, really bugged me was that. I loved the movie though. I always watched The Mummy, I always enjoyed it, but that was always hard to sit through was, the very beginning of the film. Anything with the Beatles, where they would eat characters alive and stuff, that stuff always freaked me out. Because I always had a anxiety, fear of like bugs, insects, bees. I would get stung by bees all the time as a kid. So anything like that would any kind of insect stuff would just be so like go to me. So that was one of the only few films that like really horrified me watching while growing up, which is so funny because it's PG-13, and I remember seeing movies that were rated R as a kid that were nowhere near as horrific as that. So, the MPA, you do it all wrong. You rate your movies wrong. I have a VHS of me dancing to "Smooth Criminal" from 8th grade in front of the whole class. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, if I had a bunch of VHS tapes of me as a kid, of all that stuff, I definitely would upload it because, like, that's the funniest stuff ever, coolest stuff ever. But only when I can get that stuff out of storage, and once I do, I'll be sure to post all that on YouTube. So, guys, we have a hour left until it is New Year. So, you guys keep tuning in for one more hour, and awesome because we have 1 hour left of 2021, and I get to spend it with you guys. Which how cool is that? So, yeah. Mario Mania. I don't know if you're the only one that's tuning in. Um, and thank you, Mario Mania. You're like the only like person that will remain in the live chat the whole time and won't leave. Do you have any New Year's Eve traditions? No, except for I love watching Times Square. In the ball drop. I always love that every New Year. Um, I like wearing decent clothes. I don't like to wear, you know, laundry day clothes on New Year's. I don't like that. So I do like dressing uh, somewhat good, um, even if it's just by myself. I don't know. I just don't like to. I'm weird. Um, and then I would love to celebrate fireworks on New Year's, and I have neighbors that are they're having their fireworks go off. But uh, yeah, something about fireworks and New Year's, really fit. I wish I knew a place that you could go to celebrate fireworks on New Year's. Um, and any other traditions? Well, I like to. Um, I usually have champagne on New Year's, and I only have champagne on New Year's. I never drink champagne unless it's on New Year's. So, um, hey Rob, how excited are you for Scream 5? How many killers do you think it will have? I'm not Rob. My name's not Rob. It's Ryan. It's okay, but yeah, my name is not Rob. Same. I watched Dick Clarson's Rocking New Year's Eve every year until he passed. Yep, because he did it for years, and it was just something that I would watch every year. But and it's not the same without him, but it's still something cool to celebrate. You know, is a new year, and people in Times Square. It's just something about it. I would love to go to Times Square on New Year's one year and be there. When the ball drops, that would be the coolest thing ever. Honestly, because something I would never imagine like I'd actually be there. No, it's all right, Alex. It's fine. Um, People usually get my last name wrong a lot of times, not my first name, but it's okay. How excited are you for Scream 5? I'm very, very excited. How many killers do you think it will have? Two. I think it'll have two. There's no way it's going to be one killer, unless it's Stu from the grave. You know, which I don't think that they would ever do that anyway. I mean, there was commentaries by Wes Craven for the first three Scream films, the DVDs, like way way back 20 years ago, and he talked about you know he was never about bringing characters back from the dead. Um, like when he did the commentary for like Randy's death, he said that we're not going to bring Randy back. Like that we don't do that. We don't bring characters back from the grave. And he talked about that with pretty much all the characters. So that if Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven kill off a Scream character, a character in the Scream movies, they're not coming back. So um, whoever Ghostface is or Ghostfaces are in this movie are definitely not characters that have been Ghostface. I'd be really shocked actually if it was Stu. I would clap in the theater if it was Matthew Lillard. That would be the coolest thing ever. But they're not gonna do it. A firework just went off beside my house, and I jumped a mile in the air. Fireworks everywhere because everybody's just ready for 2021 to end, you know? It's been a crazy year. Um, Possibly 3 killers? Hey, you never know. It's always possible, and in a way that would kind of, set up like a cult of Ghostfaces, like, something I always pictured with Ghostface is that there would be a cult eventually. There would be a group of people that would be Ghostface. It wouldn't just be 2 people or 3. It would be like a whole gang, of people. Because then if you Destiny of Ghostface Part 1, Part 2, the Scream fan films I made, I had like a Ghostface army, for Ghostface, army members. So it would be interesting if there was like 4, and there was this whole cult following, kind of thing. Uh, that would be interesting. I mean, that'd be something new. Um, but I think they're gonna go the whole 2 killer route this time around. I don't wanna know any spoilers, so Alex, if you know any spoilers, all that stuff that got leaked on Reddit and all that, I don't wanna know. And I don't think anybody in the live stream wants to know either. So But yeah, uh, that would be new for the series, which is probably why they would do three killers. But um, it always made the most sense of it is that it's two people. It just makes the most sense. It's two people and only two people. But three killers would be interesting. Never thought about that. Yeah. Uh, I mean, I've thought of the concept for a long time. In fact, I thought about even one of my films having three ghost faces, but then I did. In the Destiny films, there were well, technically in a way five ghost faces. So um, I'm surprised the series hasn't done it actually. But then we're only on the fifth movie. We're not on the eighth installment. You know, don't worry, I don't know any spoilers. I'm just speculating just from the trailer. Yeah, I mean, it really only comes off as 2 ghost faces judging by the trailer. Um, like, the beginning of the trailer with Jenny Ortega, she gets the phone call from Ghostface and the doors being locked, whole sequence. Definitely it's 2 ghost faces because there's the one that stabs her in the stomach, when she opens the door, and then there's that one that grabs her in the house. So, I think it's 2 ghost faces for sure. But I don't think it's any more than 2, because easily could just be 1 Ghostface. Scream 3 was 1 Ghostface. So, I mean, it's all on the writers and what the writers are what they wanna do for the film and so we'll see when the movie comes out, you know, but I really am afraid I'm gonna hear leaks about this movie to where I really just wanna avoid the internet for 15 days, you know? It's, uh it's a film out of all of them next year that I do not want spoiled. Well, Halloween Ends as well. Yes. Pretty much every big movie next year, I don't wanna know what happens, but the main one would be Scream 5. Yeah, for sure. Because I've waited 10 years for this movie, and then to know who the killers are like that, you know, no, it's like I did not wait 10 years for this just to know who the killers are, to go into the movie expecting all this to happen. I already know it's all going to happen, and then nothing is a surprise. And I walk out just like bittersweet. It was good, but it would have been better if I didn't know, you know. Trust me, I don't want to know any spoilers. Not knowing what's going to happen is part of the fun of first viewing. Yes, exactly. I mean, if you go back to the first Scream or Scream 2, or I didn't know who the killers were, which is why it was so awesome when you found out because it was so shocking and surprising, and gave you that illusion, what the film was trying to go for. And when you know who the killer is going into it, there's no suspense. No matter how much suspense the movie has before, you know what's going to happen, and that is what ruins it. You know, you're going to be still somewhat surprised, even if you know the movie, because visually, the way the directors bring a film to life, no writing, anything you find out online can prepare you for that. Excuse me. But, you know, it's you don't want to know that stuff. Scream 3 is the only one I knew the spoilers beforehand. Oh wow. Scream 3. See, I was my god, 4? 4. Yep, when Scream 3 came out. I was 4. That's how old the movie is. I was 4 years old. I've went in spoiler free for all 4 films, thankfully. Good for you, Mario Mania. It's because I was 15 and I didn't care, I guess, or maybe I did wanna know who the killers were. Back when I was in high school, I didn't care about spoilers and leaks and stuff as much. Um, but looking back at it, I wouldn't have known. But they did make Jill very obvious, and Charlie. They were pretty obvious, though. Like, at least in the trailer for Scream 5, I feel like really anybody could be Ghostface in this new film. Um, And but then if you've seen certain actors in certain roles, then you wonder, are they going to be Ghostface because they have the acting chops, you know? And so it's kind of like you could easily say the girl that was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that was one of the Manson girls. She's in Scream 5. Easily, I could say automatically she's going to be Ghostface because she played crazy in a film before that. She was dressed in all black. She played Psycho. She had the pale face. She had the everything that would a Ghostface would copycat would be. Um, so it would not surprise me, especially that she does a good acting job. I forgot her name, but she does a great acting job playing psycho, playing crazy, and you need a actor that can play crazy really well. Because it is hard actually for actors to play crazy. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if she is Ghostface, especially in the trailer. She's like, she does the "Oh my god," you know. It's kind of obvious with her, and then the guy from 13 Reasons Why, Dylan something, you know. I mean, come on. And then every single poster that Dewey's in and every single everything, I get some sort of vibe that he, could be Ghostface, which is so weird because he's Dewey. And then Hicks, because the only shot that they show her in that trailer is her screaming and going crazy with her eyes, and we know her from Grindhouse. Clearly, she's an actress that's picked because she looks crazy. And then there's um, that couple, that girl that Sydney's trying to help, automatically, I think because of Scream 4, I would think that she would be Ghostface, and that guy, is that her boyfriend or her brother? I mean, who is that dude? Because she's always they're touching each other's hands every single shot, so it's like, are they a couple? I would think so. So, I also maybe one of my theories is that they're relatives of the Stu family, of Stu Macher, because I feel like these ghost faces have to be relatives of Stu. They have to be related to him. Because why is the house in the movie? Why is Stu's house they're building this all up for the third act of the movie, right? To be at Stu's house. How would it not be Stu's relatives? You know what I mean? Like that's my biggest theory is that it's going to be people that are related to Stu. They did the related to Billy storyline with Billy's mom. So this time around, it would make sense they're trying to do a Stu situation where maybe Stu's nephew, and his cousin, or I don't know, or maybe it'll be one of Stu's relatives, um, and then maybe the other one is just like a partner in crime. Maybe they'll be a Bonnie and Clyde couple, for Scream. But you can literally go through like 20, 30 multiple different kinds of fan theories of who the killer is. And you could easily still just be like 100% wrong, Um, so the movie might surprise us. Also, we've heard that they shot like what 13 different endings of Scream 5 where it's like different actors that did the killer reveal. So they would avoid leaks. So now we have to remember they have filmed multiple endings of this movie with different actors being Ghostface. So really, it could be anyone. And if there is a leak, a big leak, easily the studio could go ahead and change that and replace the ending with another ending, which I wouldn't blame them if they did right before release because you want people going into this being surprised. And then they would be even double surprised because they'd be like, "Oh, I read these spoilers online. I know who the killer is." And then the movie plays and then ends up, being someone else. And it's like, what? That would actually surprise people because they would be expecting the leaks online. So it is smart that Paramount shot all those different kinds of endings in case of these leaks. It was very, very smart to do that. And of all any movie franchise to do that, it would be the Scream franchise. I agree, Scream 2's ending got me the most. Yep, yep. Scream 2 had definitely the most surprising ending for sure. Because Mickey's character, he could have been Ghostface or he couldn't have, but it was still a surprise, surprisingly. And his motive was like, huh. And then Billy's mom, it was like, what? Because she was Debbie Salt. She was just this regular reporter that was like trying to be like Gail Weathers. Um, so yeah, it actually was surprising, first viewing. And they did it really well. And that's when Scream worked, those first two films. When the killer reveals were great. The killer reveals were great in those first two movies. And we need great acting, but also you need great writing as well. So you kind of have to have both, and great directing. You have to have great writing, great directing, and great acting. You cannot literally have any lack of all three when it comes to Scream. You have to have all those three on bar as strong. None of them can be any lesser. When it comes to that third act, that killer reveal, the that, Scooby Doo for adults third act, when you find out who the villain is and you have the showdown. Um, she was great in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, I would not be surprised if she's one of the ghost faces. I really wouldn't be because she played so good as playing crazy in that film. I mean, she was the girl that got her face eaten up by a dog and then is shooting in the pool and then gets her face just burnt to nothing from Leonardo DiCaprio's character. So, I mean, I don't know. She definitely has the acting chops for it. And of course with these kind of movies you want to get the right actors who play Ghostface. You want them to be believable. So I wouldn't necessarily be mad if she's one of the ghost faces because I know that it's like if I find out in the movie when I watch it, like okay, because then I know she's going to do a good acting job. I'm not going to be fooled by bad acting or like someone trying to be Ghostface. Like just go back and go to the killer reveals of season 3 of the Scream show. Those are kind of the worst killer reveals I've ever seen ever to Scream. Is that's third season of Scream. Like the acting is so bad in that third season, that last episode, you know, that's why you have to get the right actors for the killer reveals because their acting is bad, then it takes everything away from what the movie was trying to do. That's how important the killer reveals are and how and their acting. Um, in the trailer, Dewey says that all the victims are connected to the original killers, so I guess the motivations are that ghost faces have a vendetta against relatives of Billy and Stu, which would explain Stu's house in Scream 5. Yep, yep. Well, why though? Like, why is this Ghostface trying to go after relatives of Billy and Stu? It's interesting because in a way, this gives us the opportunity to learn about Woodsboro. Finally, we get to learn about Woodsboro. You know what I mean? Like we haven't really learned Woodsboro. We've known that town in the storyline. We've seen it in the first movie. We've seen it in the fourth one. But has it ever felt like it's ever been really explored? That town's ever really been explored? The characters have been explored? Not really. So this kind of gives the chance for us audiences to learn about so many of these characters and that they're relatives of Billy, Stu. I mean, their purpose to the plot has a lot more automatically. It's not to say that oh they have to be related. It's just it this gives us the opportunity as Scream fans to learn these characters in a way that we never got to learn. We never thought we could learn these characters because we want to know what Woodsboro is. We want to know who lives there, what's going on in that town, and what impact has Woodsboro how is Woodsboro doing after everything that's happened there? I mean, after the events of Scream 4, a lot happened in Scream 4. So how has Woodsboro been in those 10 years? And especially that wasn't the first time the town was, affected by this or these events happened. And and now all of a sudden it's happening, all over again. And uh Yeah, it is interesting because you kind of wish now that Scream 4 would have done that with the plot, that the new characters would have been relatives of Billy and Stu. Because then their stories would have been more interesting, and they you feel like they all their storylines could have gone somewhere a little bit more, and there would have been a little more dynamic, more drama, more at stake with the story, you know? And you gotta have that drama and Scream, you know? Because I feel like Scream 4, um, it was lacking it, and it wasn't lacking it. Exploring more of the town would be cool. Yeah, because, I mean, the Halloween franchise, they've gone into, like, the lynch mob, with Halloween 4, Halloween Kills, the whole mob stuff, like, how it's, impacted the town and the effect it's had on the town and the PTSD for the characters, like, that's actually what I love why I love Halloween Kills because, um, it shows a realistic depiction of a town going through, um, all that stuff. Now, of course, The Evil Dies Tonight was a little over the top. I agree. But I kinda like in a way that it was over the top because it shows the reality of a mob mentality and the consequences of a mob mentality, and that stuff's real. I mean, if you watch films like, I mean, it felt like Titanic a little bit. The ship's sinking, people are going crazy, they're pushing each other, they're going nuts. Nobody can ever agree on the same thing. People all think for themselves and do what they want to do. So it makes a lot of sense because nobody ever agrees together anymore on one thing and they stick to it. Everybody just goes nuts and they do whatever they want. So this was extremely realistic, and I think that's why it made people angry because it's real. Um, uh, and I guess you could say that I guess they put politics in there, but I wasn't really that bugged by it. Um, I was sort of confused as to why they wanted to write a dumb mob in a Halloween film rather than a smart mob. Like you would think that they would want to write the characters in Haddonfield as smart characters. Because I always thought Haddonfield was a town of like, even though it was small, it was a town of s- some smart people. Um, And in the Midwest, it's very Second Amendment friendly. So it's surprising there was only one person with a gun in that whole mob. Uh, if that was, if Michael Myers would have been, I don't know, attacking Milwaukee, Waukesha, where I used to live, people in that town, they'd be having shotguns, rifles, like they'd be ready to go, and Michael would have been done that night. Um, so I think it would have made more sense if like that kind of mob would have been like on the East Coast, where it's like a little less of that, and because in Illinois it's very you know very different from like out here. It's a lot more Second Amendment friendly. So a storyline to take place somewhere where more of that stuff is happening, where people own firearms a lot more. Um, I don't know, it just for people to, like, wanna take him down with all these, like, bats and stuff, it just was very unrealistic to me. Um, but it was I still think it was interesting, it was nice that Michael Myers had a big body count, he was able to go to town on so many characters, and basically said to the whole town, "Yo, you're all stupid, and I won tonight." Like that last shot of Halloween Kills where he's like standing by the window in Judah's room, it's like, aha, to the whole town. It's my favorite Halloween ending because it's just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, you could say the characters are dumb in that movie, but then that's like a lot how people are. Not everybody, but a lot of people are stupid when it comes to those situations. And yeah, Michael Myers just like was just stood there and tilted his head, and he's like, "Uh huh," like he gives all these characters a chance to run, to run out of their house, whatever, and they want to choose to be they want to try to be hero. He's like, "All right, you want to play that?" Michael Myers is like, you know, he wants that. You know, he would actually be surprised if you actually run away from him. you know So yeah, uh, the twist is that Scream 5 and Halloween Kills take place in the same universe on the same night. That is interesting. But here's the thing though about Scream, it's meta. So the Halloween films exist in the Scream universe. That's the problem with Scream, is that if you're gonna do any Ghostface versus like Michael Myers or anything like that, you kind of have to do a rebooted storyline, um, because Scream from the first movie establishes that all of these movies exist, and the only thing that doesn't exist is the storyline that's being told in the Scream universe. So, I look back and it's like, yeah, Ghostface, he can't really be a part of these other characters. They would have to kind of create different timelines, kind of like what they do with Marvel, DC. They'd have to do something like that, to be able to something like that. Um, so Scream, in a way, it stands on its own because you can't really have any crossovers with Ghostface with any of the other characters, and because the opening of Scream, they go into Friday the 13th, they go into Nightmare on Elm Street, they go into Halloween, Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy. I mean, literally all three of those characters are established that they exist in that they don't exist in Scream, but the characters exist in Scream in terms of the movies exist, not that it actually is happening, but the films. So, they would kinda have to pull a New Nightmare kinda thing, a Wes Craven. I think that's what's also brilliant about New Nightmare is it's sort of ahead of its time. I feel like movies are going to use that more in the future, horror films, or maybe movies in general, the whole, it's the real life actor, and, uh, kind of storyline, taking down a villain that was from a movie franchise that ends up in the real world. I don't know, it's just what New Nightmare felt like it was an introduction to a new dimension of filmmaking. So I don't know. We've seen that explored, but I would love to see something like New Nightmare again for a horror franchise. I think Friday 13th. It would work for Friday the 13th, to be honest, because part 5 was a copycat Jason. So a copycat Jason would be actually interesting. More interesting is if, they made a Friday film where the Friday 13th movies exist. People all go camping to like to actual Camp Crystal Lake, place, like an actual movie, um, uh, what do we call those locations that you, go to, this horror horror grounds, say that people are camping in those locations where the movies were filmed, and a copycat Jason, who's someone who's obsessed with those movies, uh, kills people in the movie, and there's a final girl and yada yada, but it's not Jason. And it's a, one standalone kind of thing, but that'd be an interesting concept. They could do that with Michael Myers. I mean, because you could still have the same impact, and effect that the previous movies have with that. You just have to do it right. And I still think that they could do something better than A New Beginning, you know. Um, so I don't know. Um, but it's cool that Wes Craven introduced that kind of filmmaking with New Nightmare. The H2O Scream 2 scene doesn't make sense if you think about it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And then I've tried to think for years on my head why are the characters in H2O watching Scream 2? And then I go with, oh, they're just watching a film that isn't Scream 2. It's just a clip from Scream 2, but it's not Scream 2. It's a different movie that they were watching. It wasn't Scream 2 though. So I go with that illusion that yes, Scream 2 is in the background, but that's not the movie that they're watching. It's another movie. Um, so I just kind of go with that. I don't know why they put that in there, you know. Um, Clearly, one of the producers probably, was like, "Hey, you should include a scene from Scream since we're gonna have the Scream music in the movie and it's all screamatized." you know? But yeah, it really it doesn't make a lot it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. So you just kinda have to be creative, with your mind, as an audience member, audience viewer, like, like, how can I, uh, make this less confusing in my mind when I watch this movie? But you might be onto something, Mario Mania. They could do some sort of multiverse thing, you know? That would be interesting if they did a multiverse thing for the slashers, of all the horror films, let's just say, like, the studios all made an agreement and all work together, you know? I don't think it's really gonna happen until, like, a studio buys all those studios, It has to be like that, because copyright is so serious with these characters. Um, but I just found out, about a day ago, the lawsuit for Friday the 13th is done. I think I heard something new about it. Be no more anything in court with Friday the 13th. So we will be getting a new movie, which is perfect timing because Halloween Ends is coming out this October, which is going to be like not the end of the Halloween series, but for a little while, because the series is going to go on a hiatus for a little while. And how perfect once it once Halloween is no longer, for a while, then we get Friday 13th, you know, and that's awesome. Should have just called it Halloween 7 Scream Edition. I would have loved if they would have called it Halloween: The Revenge of Laurie Strode, the original title that they were gonna go with. Halloween: The Revenge of Laurie Strode. That was a perfect fitting title because it wasn't like the revenge of Michael Myers. It was the revenge of one of his victims that becomes a survivor, you know? Or it could have been Halloween: The Return of Laurie Strode, I mean, they could have easily used one of those titles, um, because I mean, H2O, it's water, you know? So people automatically think that. I think that's why it's easy for people to remember the title of H2O out of all the Halloween movies because it's water, H2O. How hard is it to remember? You know. So at least from what I know, most people, out of all the titles in the Halloween series, aside from the original, it's H2O that they know very well. But yeah, it would have been fitting. Halloween 7 Scream Edition. I would have fit. I hear fireworks out there. How cool. I'm so ready for a new Friday film. Same, same. Oh, and happy Friday, guys, even though it's December 31st. You put the 1 and the 3, you swap them, that's 13. So, in a way, it's kind of Friday the 31st, which is always a title I always wanted for, if they were to do a Halloween, Friday 13th movie, a Michael Myers versus Jason movie, I would love for that to be the title, Halloween the 31st. Because it'd be yeah. But, yeah, it'd be nice for, we get a new Friday film in, like, 2023. Let's just say, October of 2023, would be perfect, you know? The remake that came out was, like, in February that came out in February, which I don't want a Friday movie coming out in winter, I want it coming out in the fall. So, let's hope the next Friday movie will be a fall release, October release, and and that it's I don't know, that it's just a faithful Friday film. It's just a good movie. It's a good Friday regardless of the plot they go with, as long as it's a good movie is all I care about, is that it's a good Friday film. Um, by this point, I mean, we've had Jason in Space, Jason Goes to Hell, we've had Jason this, Jason that, him in New York, like, as long as they can whatever ridiculous the plot is or whatever, I'm prepared by this point. I just hope it's good, and it's executed well if they do wanna do something crazy. Um, I would kinda love a movie based off the, excuse me, Friday 13th, video game, because I played that video game for a good, 3 years. I can't believe it's I've been pl I waited a long time to play it, that Friday 13th video game, and yet still, wow, it's already been 3 years since I first started playing it. And I have it on my PS4 and the Xbox One, um, but, wow, if they could make a film just how that video game is, literally a whole film of, like, the counselors trying to survive, trying to hide, um, trying to escape, trying to find, uh, parts to a car, filling add gas, find the car keys, find the engine. I would love a whole Friday film where it's just characters trying to survive, a survival Friday film where they're literally doing everything they can to try to escape. And it's like a group of like 20 kids, and it's, a huge body count. It's a bunch of characters trying to survive the whole film. And you get a big third act of of all that. So um I would love that if they could make a Friday film that's like the video game that they made. Because that video game to me is like the best of anything Friday the 13th in ever. Um, that is very much in line with the Paramount films and that that nostalgia and that style and formula that those movies had. So I would love to see that again. Do you like the 2009 remake? No, I do not. That's actually one of my least favorite remakes to any movie, to any horror film would be the 2009 remake. Um, I just think it's horrible. And I really don't care. I mean, I'll respect anyone's opinion that loves that movie, but I have no love for that movie. I despise that film. It should never have been made. Um, it's tragic that it exists, and it's tragic that people like it. That's what's even more tragic that people actually think it's a good movie. Um, but you know, people probably wonder, Why do you like Halloween Kills?" Or why is Halloween Kills your favorite Halloween film?" Like, a lot of people will say Halloween Kills is the worst one. There's people that like Halloween Resurrection more than Halloween Kills, believe it or not. So, fair, you like the Friday remake, I like I like Halloween Kills. So, oh well. But still, Halloween Kills is a movie compared to that Friday remake. Oh my god. At least you have real acting in Halloween Kills. You have like Jamie Lee Curtis legit acting, Judy Greer. You have like great acting in that movie. Um uh was it Will Patton, or who was the guy that's the who plays Frank, the who was the sheriff? He did a great job in the film. The guy that played him from Project X, the guy was from Project X that played the flashback scenes. Um, you have some great acting in Halloween Kills. Um, you don't have any great acting in Friday the 13th remake. And you have nothing but annoying characters that make even dumber decisions Then the Halloween Kills characters. I remember liking the opening sequence, but I haven't seen it in years. The opening sequence was alright. If the opening sequence would have just been the whole movie, those characters, if that could have just been the whole film, then I think I would have liked the remake. I think I would have because it would have been like Bag Mask Jason, and it would have just been like those group of characters, and that would have been that. Because you already have that big flashback opening with, like, the mom. So you feel like these kids they're in the very beginning of the film are gonna be the characters for the whole movie. Instead, they're just this big, gigantic body count for an opening sequence, for a Friday film. And then you get to the real kids, and I really wish it would have been swapped. The kids that were you know, later on in the movie, I wish they would have been the opening, kills, and that the characters that were killed in the beginning of that remake were the characters we had to deal with and sit throughout that whole 2nd, 3rd act of that movie. Had they have swapped the characters, I think would have really helped the film, 'cause those kids were, like, the worst kids to any of the Friday films, seriously, in my opinion. I mean, at least in the '80s movies, the kids in those were just kids, they were people, you know? Um, and then it had goofy moments, yeah, cheesy moments with the characters, of course. Those old movies had a bunch of cheesy stuff, but still there was way more realism there than you compare it to the Friday remake. Um, Seriously, I mean, I look back at all the movies and it's so over the top, the Friday remake. Everything is so over the top, and that's not what a Friday film is known for, is being over the top when it comes to everything. I mean, some things are a little over the top with Friday the 13th, but it's meant to be scary and suspenseful and to have normal characters, not these cartoons characters. I mean, they came off as cartoon characters for me, the Friday remake. They didn't come off as real people. True, the characters were like a parody of a Friday film. Yeah, it was like a parody. It was like a stab film for Friday the 13th. It was like, it's like a filmmaker of one of the stab movies directed that remake. That's what it felt like. It just it didn't feel like a real movie. And then now don't do I hear that Ryan Johnson is the director of Stab 8 in Scream 5? Is that true? Like, after Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi, Ryan Johnson gets Knives Out. He gets an Oscar nomination for writer, director for that film, and then gets credit and then what, is a director in Scream 5, who directs one of the Stab films. Just amazing that Ruin Johnson has gotten, um, all these job opportunities after The Last Jedi. It's really sad. And the fact that Last Jedi gets way better critic praise than The Rise of Skywalker is even more heartbreaking. That people trash on The Rise of Skywalker like it's the worst Star Wars film, and yet they were the people that were bashing on The Last Jedi and saying Rise of Skywalker needs to do this, it needs to do that, it needs to do that. Well, you know what? The Rise of Skywalker did all that, and it wasn't enough for you. And it frustrates me because I was with an audience when I went to see it opening weekend that did like the movie. People clapped to it, people liked it, and so when I walked out of it, I thought people were gonna say a lot more better things about the film than The Last Jedi, but then once people started saying that The Last Jedi was better, I was like, "Are you serious? Or are you serious? You actually think The Last Jedi is better than Rise of Skywalker? Because The Last Jedi is not a Star Wars film at all. Even though I don't like the prequels much and I don't like Attack of the Clones, at least the prequels, they're still Star Wars movies, even though they're not the best Star Wars movies. They're still Star Wars movies. The Last Jedi doesn't feel like a Star Wars film. It's poorly above poorly above poorly written, uh, horribly directed. The fact that that was the guy that made Brick, Looper, that's all he could give us was that film, The Last Jedi, and, like, what he did with Captain Phasma, literally just wrote her off, killed her off as if she was no character, and then they interview him, and he's like, "Oh, I killed off Snoke because he served no importance to the storyline. Oh, I killed off Captain Phasma because she served no importance to the storyline." It was like he killed off the characters that he didn't want to develop, and it's like, "Yo, Abrams set these characters up for a trilogy, for 3 films, to set them up, give them their storylines, and give them a beginning, middle, and end. The Last Jedi was the middle storyline for all of these characters. We wanted a middle entry for Phasma, for Snoke. We didn't want these characters just to be killed off, and that's not very Star Wars too. Like, the middle entry is not about killing off all these characters, it's about developing them, fleshing them out. It's the 3rd movie that's about killing off the characters, it's a that's the film where you have characters be killed off because it's the final film in the trilogy. Um, so I was pissed when I was in the theater with The Last Jedi. When Snoke died, Phasma died, I'm like, "Whoever made this movie does not love Star Wars." Um, and thankfully, I'm not the only person that thinks that Ruin Johnson should not have a career as a filmmaker. I don't care how good Knives Out is. I don't care whatever how good his next movies are. Does not save from the kind of atrocious, disrespectful filmmaker he is, in my eye. I've actually still never seen The Last Jedi. I'm avoiding it, LOL. Well, if you like Ruin Johnson's filmmaking, then don't watch The Last Jedi. Unless you don't like Star Wars, because if you don't like Star Wars, then you probably will like The Last Jedi. But if you do have a love for Star Wars, don't watch this movie because it will just ruin everything that you love about it. And it'll take at least a year to 2 years for your brain to recover from it and actually enjoy Star Wars once again. Because I'll tell you, it took me almost 2 years to like love Star Wars again after The Last Jedi. It took me a while because yeah, I had mixed feelings about the franchise for a long time after The Last Jedi, and I was very angry. Um, so Rise of Skywalker um, was very refreshing because it was Star Wars. Yes, it wasn't the most original plot and all this stuff, but whatever. It was still it's still a really, really, really good Star Wars film. Abrams did a great directing job. He did way better directing for Star Wars than for Star Trek, even though he did a good job with the Star Trek movies. He was always clearly inevitably meant to do Star Wars, and he did amazing with The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker. I love both of those movies. They got their flaws, yeah, but they're Star Wars films. They're adventure films. You have fun with those movies. You go on a journey with these characters, and that's what's so exciting about his movies. The Last Jedi, I mean, for it to be the most fascinating plot out of all 3 of them, it's amazing that it was the weakest out of all 3. Because usually the middle entry is the best. Empire Strikes Back, the Two Towers, Lord of the Rings. I could keep going on and on about middle the Dark Knight, the middle entry is always meant to be the best one. Last Jedi was the worst one. Not only the worst of the trilogy, but was the worst Star Wars film. So, it's bad when you fail as a filmmaker like that. When you fail Star Wars, because nobody trashed Abrams when with Force Awakens. I don't even think Solo was trashed like The Last Jedi. I don't think Rogue One was trashed like the last. None of the Star Wars films or shows that have come out have ever been trashed like The Last Jedi has. So it's when you stay away from the formula of Star Wars is when, you're putting yourself in a really messy situation as a filmmaker when you stray away from what works. Because yes, you do have to add, original ideas to the plot. You have to do some things that are new and fresh. You have to keep it original, but at the same time, you gotta keep it retro, you gotta keep it nostalgic, you gotta keep it in line with what the fans love, and you don't listen to the fans. I mean, the only reason why Last Jedi did that well was because of The Force Awakens. Because The Force Awakens was so good, people loved it. It got great critic responses, audience responses. People were very satisfied with that film. Is everybody thought The Last Jedi was gonna be The Force Awakens. We were expecting another Force Awakens, and instead, the movie was exact opposite of that. In fact, the movie felt like, "Hey," right from the beginning of the film, it felt like, "Hey, I'm Ryan Johnson, and, everything you loved about the last movie, I'm gonna get rid of and throw away and give you a movie that you're not gonna like." Is pretty much what The Last Jedi is. So if you wanna sit through an atrocious jump the shark fest, that's Last Jedi. And it could have been a great movie. It really could have been a great movie too. It really could have been. I love the original trilogy. Same. I think he was trying to be submersive for the sake of it, from what I'm hearing. Yeah, which was the worst thing he could ever do. I mean, with his filmmaking style, like the way that he shoots his films, he could have made a really, really good Star Wars film if he just would have been really smart about it. And instead his narcissism and greed and power took over, obviously. And that's why you have a film like The Last Jedi. Because the movie was not made with heart. It was made for profit. And yet he only had to write a rough draft of the script of the film, and he got the final cut thanks to Kathleen Kennedy. He got the final cut of that movie. And not every filmmaker gets the final cut of a film. There's some filmmakers that deserve the final cut to a movie and they don't get the final cut. And he got the final cut to The Last Jedi. And that was the final cut. That was the final cut. So, but yeah, the original trilogy will always be the best. Empire Strikes Back will always be the best one. Um, I think that'll always remain as the best Star Wars film. A lot of people will argue that Revenge of the Sith is better, but I think Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie. He should leave that to his original films and not a cultural behemoth like Star Wars. Yeah, he chose the wrong franchise to do something new and fresh with it. I've seen filmmakers that have tried something new and fresh with sequels to franchises, but they all did it better. Um, I think the best example I can use is James Cameron with Aliens. Ridley Scott, the original Alien film, is an incredible movie, and that will always be the best Alien movie, in my opinion. I love the director's cut. I watch that movie like every year. It's a beautiful film. But Aliens is a great sequel. And even though it wasn't made by Ridley Scott, the movie was made with heart, with love. You can tell the filmmaker cared about the story and the characters and the world and wanting to build upon it and turn it into something bigger than it was and better. Um, Aliens is a great example of that as a filmmaker taking over, basically doing a sequel to a film that had such a phenomenon to it, and then doing something new and different, but similar, but it working. So Aliens, I think, is the best example of that. Mario Mina, are you still in the chat? Because it says 0 people are in my live stream. Oh, okay. So I guess my moderator left. Okay, you're here. Okay. Yeah, so I'm I'm pretty much only going to be live streaming for another good 20 minutes, 20 minutes around there or less. Because I want people to still enjoy their New Year once it drops, but once midnight hits. Um, but I wanted to be able to do a transition video, from here we are, 2021 into 2022, and my live stream, it's like it all happens live. And yeah, so I'm celebrating with you guys. Mario Mania, you're gonna be celebrating with me, I hope. And hopefully we get some more people in here. Um, I'm hearing some fireworks again outside. So yeah, this is fun. I mean, I feel like I'm still, celebrating the holiday, even though I'm not with family and friends. 10 minutes until New Year's. I know. Wow. Oh my God, 10 minutes. You know, 10 minutes. It's crazy. Oh my God. Well, you know what? Let's hope 22 will be the year for Insane Cage of Madness Part 2 and The Devil Servants, and they will finally be made. Um, reason why I'm a little hesitant and not optimistic is because I feel like 2022 is going to be a lot like how 2020 was. Um, even though we have vaccines and yada 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 now, um, I feel like it's going to be almost as bad as 2020. Maybe it won't be as bad, um, but it'll be very similar. And I think my films will be postponed, delayed for a long time. I don't think I'll be. I don't think I'll live to see the light and day of being on set filming these movies for a long time. And I really wish that wasn't the case, but it sucks. I get older and older, and I want to play these characters and get everything over with and move on to other projects. And I can't even move on to other projects. It's like I can pause those movies and even work on other movies. No, so it's not like an exciting year for me to look forward to unless the movies are made. I mean, I'm excited for the movies that are coming out, next year. I'm excited for those. We're getting a lot of movies, but then I worry about delays. Like what is this? How much effect is this variant going to have? You know, and is this going to be another 2021? I don't, and if it is another 2021, I don't know how many movies are going to be made. I really don't. It'll be a miracle, um, if it happens, really. Because when you're low budget, you don't have any money, and you want all these people to be in your movie, um, a- and you're in a pandemic, and people are afraid to be around each other, and people are getting this virus, and it doesn't stop. Um, just there's nothing you can do, and you feel so helpless, and everything is out of your control, and I don't like when things feel like they're out of my control. I really don't. I don't like things out of my control. I don't like that feeling. 'Cause, automatically in life, there's always gonna be things out of your control, and you have to accept that, Um, but then there's some things that can be in your control, but because of this virus, it's taken every all that control away, and I didn't have to do anything. Well, thank you, Mario Mania, for sending good vibes about my films. I appreciate that. I really do. Really do. When you guys say anything good about my movies, I means everything, especially by this point. So I'm gonna turn on my TV and have the get the channel, turn on the right channel for when the ball drops. I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can see better. So hold on. All right. Turn on the TV. Oh, I have the TV on. I just have to go to live TV. Let's see. Should I play it on my on live TV or should I play it on my Xbox? Because on the Xbox it'd be better quality. So maybe I should play it on my Xbox then. Because I think it's on Hulu right now. Well, I could just go into Hulu. I don't even have to go on my Xbox. So we'll just go into Hulu. Dun. All right. Times Square. All right. All right. Okay. 5 minutes. Yep. So hopefully there's not any copyright strike on my video, like, oh, your video captured audio of Times Square New Year's. you know, that would suck. YouTube, leave me alone for once, please. As a timer, 4 minutes. Yeah, I'm live streaming. I know. Can you come to the door super quick? No. It's for New Year's. No. I'm sorry, I'm live streaming. No, don't come in here. You're gonna be on live video. The whole world's watching you. I know. Look. No, no, Mom, I'm doing a live stream. Do not, please. Stop it. Sorry. Mario Mania, you ready for 2022? I don't know the singer that's performing right now. If you know, let me know. One in Times Square. And sorry about that. I always inform people that I'm live streaming before I live stream, so they don't interrupt me or I don't know walk into my room when I'm live streaming because I take that very seriously because this is kind of like um, almost like a meeting for me, um, where it's my own personal space, and when I do anything for my platform, my channel, anything, I don't like anyone in the way, anyone being in the live stream unless I want them to be in the live stream. But I don't like that disrespected. Yep, 2 minutes. 1 minute. Here we go. It's actually going to happen right now. Wow. Here we go. Oh my God. Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys. Oh, all right. I got the timing. I got the timer wrong. Or unless this video is a little bit behind. Wait. Okay. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2022. Here we go. All right. All right. 2022. Wow. Hmm. Happy New Year. Let's hope that this is a good year. You know what? I think I'm actually just going to say it. I think it'll be a horrible year, but let's hope I'm wrong. How cool. Everybody's, in Times Square, celebrating this, the ball drop. Oh my God, how cool that is. Let me mute my TV just so I can avoid any copyright audio. You know how YouTube is now. Okay. All right. I wish good things for all of us in 2022. Same, same. I hope we have a great 2022. I do. Like why would I want a bad year? You know, um, I've stayed optimistic since 2020, and nothing's really changed. So it's hard for me to believe that even though you hear all the fireworks and all this and that and that and that really anything's gonna change. You know, because I don't think it will. At least not this time. I don't think it will. I think more to celebrate would be 2023. 2024. We'll probably be in a much better spot then. And that's probably won't even be till 2023 when I can make my movies again, or the end of next year. So it's gonna be another year of all this stuff all over again, and that's why it's hard to stay optimistic about 2022. But happy New Year's, guys! Happy 2022. Um, let's do hope we do have a great year. Let's hope that I'm wrong. Let's hope that the impossible of the impossible happens. That my movies are made. That all these movies come out. There's less masks. There's everyone's vaccinated. Everybody gets their boosters. Um, there's a vaccine to the new variant, and we're at a way better spot than we are right now. And there you go. You know, let's hope. That this year everything falls into place and we get back to some form of normalcy. Um, but we'll not be surprised if we don't. Uh, but I'm hoping. I am hoping. I'm trying to stay optimistic, but um, I'm kind of tired of remaining optimistic about things that won't happen. You know, it's just kind of setting myself up for failure. So I'm kind of tired of doing that. I'd rather just say 2022 is going to be a horrible year, and it turns out not being a horrible year. than to go into it thinking it's gonna be a great year and it ends up being the worst of it. Because I remember going into 2021 thinking it was gonna be way better than 2020 and it ended up being worse than 2020. Um, all the family and friends that I lost last year in 2021, that was rough. And now everybody that I know is getting the new variant. I mean, so this is not a time to flash my firework to flash fireworks and celebrate it and yay, hey, it's New Year. I think this is the first year where I feel this way, where I feel like, what's this gonna do? What's this how is this gonna change anything celebrating a new year? Except that we're celebrating another 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people dying of this stuff. It almost feels Hunger Gamesy to me a little bit. Anyway, I am not the perfect speaker on New Year's, and to get people excited and everything for a new year and, talk about everything great. Not the person for that. Um, if I'm optimistic, I will be optimistic, and you guys have seen me optimistic in my videos, but when I'm not optimistic, I'm not optimistic. And um, I really want 2022 to be a great year. I would love that. I really do. And um, and I'm going to try to enjoy everything I can about 2022. Everything that because it's life is short, so you have to enjoy time you have and what you have around you that you can appreciate. It's just very difficult when you're put in this bubble for 2 years. You literally, my movies have been postponed for 2 years, and I just never have felt so frustrated and exhausted and angry and in my life. Um, and it's anger on a level of like, um, my movies aren't made, my art uh, isn't happening. Like it's not continuing. My art isn't continue to go. It isn't keep going, and it's not being put on YouTube. And I'm not editing my films and all this, because I can't shoot my movies. So that's the anger I have right now, and it's a huge amount of anger for that. So I don't have an anger. I don't have anger to people. I just have anger to the situation. Um, so I understand how you feel. It's easy to feel demoralized right now. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I don't even know what planet we're living on right now. It does. I don't even feel like we're even living in reality. Um, it's just hard to keep up with everything that happens. It's like every day there's something and there's something and there's something and there's something, and I don't know. I just don't feel like we've had a average decent year since 2018, 2019. Those are the last years I remember that were, you know, they were just years. They had their ups and downs. But 2018 was a great year for me. 2018 was a great year. I really enjoyed 2018. I made The Double Servant that year, the Twilight short, um, the Miner versus Jason and Ghostface story. Um, I had a really, really good year for my YouTube channel that year. Halloween 2018 came out. I got to see it with my whole family, which was great. There was no pandemic. There was no masks. There was no this, no that. Um, and there was still a year before all this too. So 2018 was was awesome. You compare it to this, like 2018 was a, a normal year compared to how everything has been. And I mean, I could keep going on and on and on of being non optimistic about 2022, but I'm not going to because sure, if you guys have been watching, I've already said everything really I needed to say about, you know, my lack of optimism. Feels like there's a glitch in the Matrix, LOL, like we entered a parallel universe. Yeah, I say that too. Yeah, it does feel like we're like in a different universe, like it is the Matrix. Like we all died and came back, and we went to a different universe or something. It just this doesn't feel like reality, you know. And there's so much that we all can comprehend, it's so hard to comprehend everything that's going on right now. It's just it's too much. It's too much. So, I'm gonna try to enjoy everything I can about 2022. Appreciate the things I have, appreciate the people in my life, and appreciate those things, and to try to enjoy those things about my life. Um, get into reading more. I need to catch up on my reading. I guess more writing, especially if my films are postponed once again for another year. Then I'll create two screenplays. Um, uh, I want to be vegetarian. I want to try going vegetarian for a year. So I'm going on a certain diet for a year. I'm interested in eating healthier. Um, and let's see. Um, seeing family members more, um, if possible. Um, keeping my channel alive, keeping it going. Um, beating certain video games I haven't beaten yet. Watching certain films I haven't watched yet. Watching shows I haven't got around to. Um, and yeah, number one is the movies, and hoping that they get made. And the more and more that doesn't happen, the more and more I'm going to be less and less optimistic about this whole thing. It yeah, it just makes me really sad, and gives me a lot of anxiety. And it's like if this virus never happened, um, my movies would be done. They'd be on YouTube right now, and I'd be writing the scripts right now for my next movies. That would be whatever, and but I think my life would be at a better spot too. I think it would. I think I'd be a lot happier, um, and a lot more optimistic. So the more we're in a pandemic, the more we're in a lockdown, the more we're in a all this stuff, the more depressed I'm going to get, and less hopeful I'll be. So let's hope that we're in for a good year over a bad year, because my optimism is just going away more and more and more. I wish you the best of luck with your New Year's resolutions. Thank you, Mario Mania. I hope so too. I wish you the best of luck with your new year, and if you have any New Year's resolutions, good luck with those as well. Um, thank you for sitting through 2 hours of my live stream. Watching me talk about a bunch of stuff, and talking about 2021, 2022. Here we are, 2022. Happy New Year! And there's the fireworks out there. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to celebrate New Year. Try to be optimistic, and hope for the best. But every year, more and more since 2020, I remain less and less optimistic. So, all right, guys. Well, that is my live stream. Everybody that joined, thank you. This got 7 likes. I mean, thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate it. Don't let my negativity ruin your love for this year and all the goals and everything you guys have for this year. Um, if it's going to be a great year for you, great. I hope it'll be a good year for you. I hope this will be a good year for everybody, and that we live in a better world than this, this year, that this year hopefully changes everything. So, you guys enjoy the new year, enjoy 2022. I will make a video soon. Um, thanks, Ryan. This was fun way to bring in the new year. Thanks, Mario Mania. Yeah, I figured why not? Family and friends that are sick this year. So why not this year out of all years to do a live New Year's live stream? So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Um, and I guess that's that. um, so yeah, thank you guys for joining, for watching, and I'll make a Happy New Year's video, a short one that you guys will watch on YouTube tonight. And I'll make another video this month as well, talking more about the movies, keeping you guys updated. Of course, more about Scream 5 when I review Scream 5, all that. So, look, that's stuff to look forward to is me reviewing Scream 5, and all these next movies and stuff. So that's the thing what I'm mainly looking forward to is all the movies that are coming out. And hopefully that none of them get delayed. So all right. You all have a great new year. Have a great happy new year. You all have a great time and I will talk to you all very soon. All right, peace.